Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra George Sturgis. Welcome to my channel, Authentic Beauty Handmade Dolls and Crafts. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make Jewel the sock rag doll. Thank you so much for watching. The first thing you need to do is download the pattern from my Authentic Beauty magazine website. Just click on the link above. You're going to download the pattern, cut it out, and then you're going to trace it onto a pair of socks. I'd highly suggest that you use male socks. I bought these socks from Marshall's and some of them from Myers. You want to go to like a discount store. You don't want to spend a lot of money on the socks. But I learned a lot of lessons from this. One, in the video, I'm using a pair of male socks, and I think they're Kenneth Cole, and he has his name on it, but he only has it on one sock, which is not that bad. Now, I could have made a mistake, and it would have been on two socks, and then, I don't know, like, just pay attention to things like that. Another thing I noticed is that the little heel portion where it has like the different color, and then the toe portion of the sock also has a different color. Now, what I don't like about it is when I stuff her head, I don't have to, but I bring down her hair to cover that, coloration, because I don't want it to show, because I really can't figure out how it would look attractive. And I guess, at the end of the day, I always say it's a doll and it can just be an artistic expression. But these are things to pay attention to. I suggest male socks because you have more space to work with, and I like the texture and the durability, and you can get a pack of really nice male socks, or socks for men. I don't know if I say male socks, but socks for men. And I think I bought like 5. It was 5 pair in a package, and they were about $4.99, so it's like $1 a sock. And so I totally suggest the male socks because of the size. And also, you want to select the sock that, for example, in this video here, I forgot to turn it over. Like, I literally forgot to turn the sock inside out. I was so upset about that because I really wanted that coloring, but the other side wasn't bad. So I was like, oh, this is good. This is I really like it. So pay attention to things like that. Like, when you turn it inside out, and making sure that you have enough space for all the limbs, making sure there's no writing on the socks. I think at Walmart they have a brand, and maybe it's at Target as well, and I think it's called the gold toe or gold tip, and it has a big gold band, so pay attention to all of these things before purchasing your socks. I am using my Jelly Roll pen to trace the pattern onto the sock. Again, I've said it before, but I really love the Jelly Roll pens because they do not bleed through to the other side. And when I'm sewing with my sewing machine, I can see the colors because they are vibrant and they are thin markings. Like, I don't like chalk because it's too thick, and some of the other markings just, I want to be able to see. And maybe it's because I'm in my 50s and you know how that is and you can't see that well, but when I'm sewing, I like to see where I need to sew. So what I'm doing is tracing the legs and the upper body, the upper portion of Jewel's body on one sock. And then on the other sock, I am just simply tracing the arms and the ears. And then, oh my God, and then you have a lot of sock left over, and you can make a headband for her. Like, I really like it with the headband, but you know me, I like to change the hairstyle. So that was an issue. But with the sock that's left over, the one that you have with just the arms and the ears on it, I mean, you can use the toe portion to make like panties, or you can make some really cute stuff, because you're going to have quite a nice, not a whole lot of sock left over, but enough to really make something cute out of it. So now that I have sewn around the markings on my sock doll, my sock rag doll, I am cutting out the pieces, and then I am going to flip them or turn them inside out, and then I'm going to begin to stuff them. Now, because I was trying to keep in mind that this would be a doll for a small child, I didn't put any wire on the inside or anything like that, because I personally like wire because I like to bend the arms, I like to do stop motion, I like to pose my dolls. But you know what, this sock material, this is some really good stuff. It really is. I'm kidding. I am not kidding. This oh my goodness, this sock is, you can sit the doll down like on her bum, seriously, and then you can stand her up. Like, she sits well, and like you can cross her limbs and they'll stay in place without any wire or anything on the inside. Make sure that you use the what is it, the I don't have my box next to me, the Morning Glory or Mountain Mist fiber fill. I'm telling you, if you use the really spongy regular fiber fill, I do not think this project is going to turn out for you. You're going to have this bulky, shapeless looking doll. And the fiber fill that the Morning Glory and Mountain Mist, you can wash it as well and it will turn out just fine. It's really good stuff and it's not overly expensive. Now, while you are cutting out the pieces for your sock rag doll, make sure that you do not get too close to where you have sewn the doll, because sometimes when you're stuffing, it will rip apart. Now, you can hand sew this doll. Look at that piece. It's one piece. I love that. So anyway, so basically don't get too close. Give yourself a little space so that when you stuff the doll, the seams do not come loose. But I really like this one piece. I just think it's really gorgeous. So my son was asking me, he said, "Mom, why can't you just stuff the doll from the bottom, from in between the legs, as opposed to cutting the back?" Now, the reason I highly suggest that you cut the back to turn the doll inside out and stuff her is because in order to stuff the head properly, you are going to need to have access to the head. And later on, you're going to, if you choose to do it this way, you're going to use a bead for her nose, with the holes in it. And if you stuff from the bottom, that's a long route from in between her legs all the way up to her nose. To me personally, everybody's different, and some people just don't want the mark in her back or whatever. But I personally need access to the head. Sometimes I like to add a little bit more stuffing for the cheeks or to fill out the area for her mouth. And and one more thing is that I feel that when I cut the back and then I ladder stitch it together, it shapes her body a little bit more. It gives it, even though obviously this is a young girl, so she doesn't have to have like this hourglass figure, but it pulls it in a little bit, and I like the way it looks. But if you choose to go in between the legs to stuff your sock rag doll, you know what? That is your artistic expression, which I believe there is no right or wrong way to really do anything. I mean, if you really think about it, just do you, and whatever makes you happy. It's just my preference because I like to have, access to the head. Jewel, the sock rag doll, was designed to be an easy, quick, inexpensive project for people who want to make dolls for hospitals or charities, something that you can make easily and give away without spending a lot of time or a lot of money. And I feel that excuse me, I feel that the time is going to go into making the hair, but there are so many things you can do for doll hair. I chose to use yarn, which is also very inexpensive. I've done videos in the past on my method on how I like to create the wefts, you know, to weave in the hair, because I like the hair to be versatile. But I was also looking at some ways to possibly you know, use felt hair, you know, where you, but I just can't do it, because I honestly do not like, I mean, I don't mind felt, the movement. Like, I've seen people cut felt into strips and then curl it. It's really beautiful. I'm going to try that later, but I don't want a felt stiff hairstyle. But if you want to do that, please feel free to do so. One of my goals is to create a channel so that I'm giving you techniques, strategies, methods to create the doll of your dream. Because, you know, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to make any doll, and everybody has a personal style. I am telling you that if you take the exact same pattern and you have 100 doll makers make that same pattern, that doll will come out looking completely different. I mean, even when you follow directions, because I believe that each person's soul has its own individualistic expression, sort of like our fingerprint. So just feel free. I'm hoping to inspire you, but feel free to alter this pattern to suit your likes and dislikes. So I am using a dowel stick to help me stuff the stuffing into her foot and her leg area and the thigh area. But I'm going to tell you, please be careful, because in the past I have blown out the seams because I was too rough, or too rough. So be very gentle and be very mindful. And also, when you are stuffing your jewel sock rag doll, make sure to shape her with your hands. Like, I think sometimes when people make dolls, and that, you know, again, I don't want to feel like I'm telling people what to do. I'm just sharing what I do. I just think it's very important to use your hands to mold the doll, not just depend on the fabric or the pattern. And I think, you know, I know this sounds a little crazy, but I think in a way it's like the doll needs your energy. And when you mold the doll with your hand, I feel like you get a better product because you're putting more energy into it, if that makes sense. Before settling on this particular pair of socks, I used a black and white pair of socks. And what I did was, when I bought the socks, I said, okay, I'm going to pick the pair of socks that I'm least likely to make a doll out of, and then I'll just use it as my prototype, and then I'll correct all of my changes. And I used a black and white pattern, a black and white pair of socks, I'm sorry, and I fell in love with her. I'm sorry. I fell in love with her, and her name is Wisdom. And I mean, I don't know, like, I didn't plan on it, but we'll talk about her in another video. But I also used another pair of socks, which was the very first one. It had like little designs in it, and I thought, this looks horrible with the designs. I can't wait to get like a more flesh tone pair of socks. And my daughter-in-law, she said she really liked the socks, the sock doll, the original, the first one I made with all the little design in it. And I thought, really? She said, no, I love this doll because it's unique. And I thought, oh my goodness. And I don't know, like, it just gave me confidence. Like, oh, well, maybe all the socks that I thought I was not going to use, maybe I will use them. And maybe I need to get out the box, stop, thinking like everything has to be a flesh tone. And you know what? And thinking of flesh tone, today I was going to order this. I saw like this ad for like a body shaper, you know, like to make you look like you have like an hourglass figure. And I was so excited, and I was about to order it, and they only had 2 colors, and one was black and one was nude. And I don't know if it's menopause or my age, I don't know what it is, but that infuriated me. Like, I mean, I think I've been, you know, dealing with it for a long time, but what do you mean nude and black? Nude, when I am nude, I am brown, and nude, there's not a particular human being that is the prototype for all humans. You should have brown, you should have, you know, maybe pink or peach or whatever, or beige, but nude, I just said no. And I started to write them, but then I said, you know what, you're not going to finish that video tonight. Let it go. Don't order it and get on with life. So I think the term is flesh, because the flesh can be different for different people, but, you know, no. Anyway, back to the doll, I'm sorry. So as you can see, I am stuffing the hands, and again, I like to make sure that I stuff the thumb first, because once you stuff the rest of the hand, it becomes a little bit more difficult to get it really nice and tight into that particular area. But yeah, so everything is going along. I thought that, you know, this is actually the 3rd one that I made, and I tried to time myself, and I think that this doll takes about 30 minutes to make. Now, I know the videos are longer because I'm trying to show you what I'm doing, and, you know, when you're making a video, I'm making mistakes, things have to dry, but I'm also showing you ways to create the face where you don't have to paint the eyes. You can buy doll eyes from Joann's, and they're only like $2.99 a pack. And when you're doing something to show someone, you know, it takes time, where as opposed to me just, you know, running through it. But it is about a 30-minute project, and or 30 minutes or less, and the hair takes a little bit longer, and that's where you'll run into some time. But if you really want to make a lot of these dolls to give away, if I were you, I'd have a moment like when I'm not that busy or watching TV, where I would just make all of the wefts for my yarn hair, or if you choose to use artificial human hair, which I don't want to use for this doll. Like, in my mind, if you don't have fingers and you don't have an armature, I'm not going to give you human hair. Maybe, but you know, but I think I did that with Geraldine. But she had an armature. You know, I don't know. It just seems like yarn fits the fabric for this particular sock doll. I'm sorry for talking your head off. I know there's a doll inside of you who is just dying to come to life, but only you can breathe life into her. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next project.